Hello my people, FinerBub here. Thanks for checking out the video. Today, we're talking about hiking the Mayflower Gulch, a simple but sweet 6-mile round trip out and back day hike near Breckenridge, Colorado, within a 2-hour drive of downtown Denver. Throughout the video, I'll cover the basic information that I think you need to know if you plan to check out this hike yourself, and towards the end, I'll share my personal thoughts on the hike and who I think it's best suited for. But before we get into that, just a little tidbit for those of you who don't know. On this channel, I'm all about sharing my thoughts and experience on the best spots to check out and the best gear to bring with. So if, like me, you'd like to spend more time outside appreciating the finer things in life, do yourself a favor and consider subscribing. Also, feel free to check out the description below for links to any of the gear or hiking information resources I mention. Alrighty then, without further ado, let us begin.
I want to see mountains again! Mountains!
So, a couple weeks ago, my wife and I met up with a few of her coworkers for a relaxing weekend of camping and hiking in Colorado's White River National Forest. We left Denver on Friday afternoon and made the sub-2-hour drive to Dillon, Colorado, where we planned to spend the weekend. We camped here, at the Prospector Campground by the Dillon Reservoir, and after a sleepless night filled with the merciless battle cries of the local wildlife, we groggily greeted the morning with some coffee and shakshuka, courtesy of my wife Carly and her epic cooking skills. I helped a little, but not really. After breakfast, we made the short 30-minute drive to the Mayflower Gulch Trailhead. The trailhead sits at a cool 11,000 feet above sea level and only goes up from there. The Mayflower Gulch Trail starts below the tree line and follows a gradual incline up a gravel road that, unfortunately for day hikers like us, is also open to cars. During the first couple miles, you'll pass a few gaps in the trees through which you can kind of snatch a glimpse of a view, but the majority of this section below the tree line earns its stripes via the beauty of the local wildflowers. So we just hit 1 mile. Been hiking for a little over 20 minutes. Still on this same gravel path. There are cars allowed on this path, so we've seen a couple pickup trucks. Oh, the view's starting to open up a little there. I don't know if this is a tent site or what. After the first mile, the trees started to thin, opening up the view just as we hit a fork in the trail. We took a left, crossing over the Mayflower Creek, and followed the trail up the center of the gulch. Along this section of the trail, we passed several creepy-looking dilapidated log cabins that, according to an article I read on OutdoorProject.com, are left over from the 1800s when the gold mine was active. Been going for 50 minutes, 1.72 miles. Having fun?
Yeah.
So just over 2 miles now. We just made our first turn. We came up that trail and looped around here. Yeah, so a little bit less than a mile to go. It's a nice view for sure. There's another trail that looks like it goes up to that ridge line right up there, but maybe another time. I'm hungry. Gonna have some peanut butter jelly time at the top. Peanut butter jelly time at the top. After about 3 miles of hiking and several evolving variations of the same view, the trail just kind of ends abruptly just before the grassy ground turns to scree. So I'm not exactly sure where the top of this is. Everyone I'm hiking with has already turned around, and I'm about to hit this giant rock wall. So maybe at the end of this little grassy patch I'll turn around, but yeah, it's a good hike. 3 miles up. Definitely gets you winded. So we're at about like 9 or 10,000 feet above sea level right now. But yeah, no peak bagging. More of just like a gradually evolving view once you get above the tree line. But yeah, it's a good old time being outside in the Rocky Mountains. Bring snacks. Snacks are key. Oh, I'm so tired. Walking and talking. Walking and talking. Oh boy. We're calling this rock Turnaround Rock. It looks like the trail doesn't really go much further. Just to that little scree pile. Nice view though. Maybe just a little further. Just a little further. Okay, now we're really at the end of the trail. Got a nice little wind block right here. I'm gonna put on some layers. Oh, I heard a marmot. Where are you? At this point in the hike, I was pretty much on my own. Everyone else in our group had either stopped or turned around, so I layered up, pulled out some snacks, and headed back down to rejoin the group. Alrighty, my people, down we go. Now, according to all trails, there are actually two sections of this hike. There's a section that we did, which ends near the old mine at the base of the scree field. And remember when I mentioned that we took a left over a creek when we hit the fork in the trail? Well, apparently taking a right would have led us up to this ridgeline, where it seems like you could just keep going, either looping back around to the trailhead, or you could just keep going up to Drift Peak and Fletcher Mountain. I'm sorry to say that we didn't do either of those, and after reaching the mine, we basically just turned around and went back down the way we came. Despite not doing the other section, at the end of the day, I still felt like I got in a decent hike. Although the slope was pretty gradual and the terrain was pretty mild, every few steps felt like sprinting a mile. I'm sure it would have been easier for someone in better shape who is more acclimated to the altitude, but yeah, this was only my second hike of the season, so needless to say, it kicked my ass. So, what are my thoughts on this hike? Well, despite its simplicity, I rather enjoyed it. The wildflowers were dope, and there were some really amazing views, even though they were all of the same thing. I guess it would have been more exciting if I had climbed the ridge and experienced more of a climactic midway point, but like I said, I was pretty much beat after huffing and puffing up to the mine at the end of the gulch and was happy to return to the campsite with the rest of the group. So, who is this hike for? Well, to be honest, it's a pretty great option for almost everyone. Dogs are allowed, and the terrain is really mild, so beginners won't have a problem even hiking it in sneakers. And if you do get tired, you can pretty much turn around at any point in the hike and just head back down the way you came up. I do, however, recommend that anyone hiking this trail bring both a fleece and a rain shell. The trail does get cold and windy once you pop up out of the trees, and will be quick to turn around anyone who doesn't bring proper layers. And definitely don't do this for the sake of other hikers, but they even let you drive your car up to the point where the trail forks before the creek. Just be aware that no hiker looks fondly at those who force them to make way for motor vehicles climbing the trail that they're hiking on foot. And lastly, of course, expert athletes need not worry, because after a short look around with Google Maps, you'll find all sorts of ways to extend this hike up to and beyond your physical limits. To be honest, in retrospect, this trail seemed more like something that would be better suited for winter conditions. Most of the hike would be an easy slope to skin up or snowshoe, and if you wanted to get real crazy, you could skin all the way up to one of the peaks and shred down this dope line all the way back to the parking lot. So, in sum, I can easily recommend the Mayflower Gulch Trail to anyone willing to try it, and I might just have to come back here in the wintertime, assuming I can get my hands on an affordable pair of Tele or AT skis before then. So, getting down to the bottom, gone 4.5 miles altogether. Been hiking for about 2 hours and 18 minutes. And yeah, almost done with this one. It's definitely a good hike, you know? It's like, I wouldn't call it a full day hike, probably still a half day hike. 6 miles in total, give or take, depending on when you decide to turn around. But yeah, very enjoyable. It's a little higher in elevation than the last hike I did. So it's definitely been a little bit cooler up here, but I'm not one to complain about that. So yeah, come check it out. I don't even remember what it's called, but I'm sure Editor David will remind you in the voiceover. Carly thinks she's gonna be first, but she didn't go all the way up, so it doesn't count. I'm gonna be first. Hey, puppy. I'm just gonna beat my wife in this race. Just 1 second. I win. Haha. Here comes Carly, second place. Well then. After returning to the car and subsequently the campground, we dodged a few deluges as we dined on burgers and beer before hitting the hay and heading back to Denver. All in all, we had a great time, and I can definitely recommend both the Mayflower Gulch and the Prospector Campground to anyone from beginner hikers to seasoned trail runners who are willing to make the trip out. Alrighty, my people, that concludes today's episode of the FinerBub Show. If you've already hiked the Mayflower Gulch Trail, or if you have any questions about the hike or suggestions for where I should go next, I'd love to have you comment below, especially if you think your insight can help me disprove something that I think I already know. But before you do, I just want to once again thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you're planning your next trip or looking for new gear, don't let the small details stress you out. Remember, life's an adventure, so relax, breathe in the outdoors, and don't forget to appreciate the finer things. See you out there, people. Peace.